All right, David, your turn to lead us in to Gideon Davis, a running back who's probably one of the faster guys in the class. If you like what we're doing here on The Official, go ahead and like and subscribe to this video. And David, tell us more about Gideon Davis here.
Yeah, Gideon Davidson. He's the running back 3 in the class, 38th overall. He is committed to Clemson. He's from Liberty Christian Academy in Virginia. One of the most productive running backs in the class. Last year, he had like 2,700 yards, like almost 13 yards per carry. You can see he can catch the ball too. His receiving production was only 8 catches for 60 yards and 2 touchdowns, but he definitely flashes some pretty good hands. So he also hits 21.9 miles per hour. That gives us a projected 40-yard time of around 4.42. I've seen him listed as high as 193 pounds on 24/7. So he's got decent size, also has a 74-inch wingspan, 30.5-inch arms, and a 9-inch hand. But as far as like his tape goes, like he grew on me a bit. I originally watched his freshman tape, and I noticed he did like a lot of ruddering, and it looked like he's improved in that regard. So his body control is better. This is another impressive catch here too. I don't know. I almost wonder if those receiving stats were wrong, because I think we've already seen more than 60 yards of receiving just on those. But you can't really trust math press with that stuff. He's pretty good between the tackles. I think he's patient, has good vision. I thought his burst was pretty good as well. If you look at pictures of him on Twitter and some older ones, like this guy's absolutely shredded. Like he's got like zero body fat. Like I'm pretty sure he'll be a high responder in the college weight room. He'll probably get to the 205, 210 area with like very low body fat. I think he's got to develop his lower body a little bit more, a little skinnier for my taste, but and it kind of affects his contact balance a little bit at this point. Like he looks like a little slender through the hips. So it'll be interesting to see how strong he can get down there. And, if he can bulk up, I think he'll improve in that regard. But I think he's pretty well-rounded. I do want to see more receiving production as a senior. And it can be tough to judge a guy like this his competition's not very good. His team is much, much better than the teams he's playing. So, like their team was undefeated this year. They won like on an average score of 45-8. So it was a lot of domination, but he did really well in the state championship. He's got a lot of momentum coming into his final year. Like he had like over, I think 225 yards and like 2 interceptions on defense in the state championship. So he's grown on me. I just want to see how he looks if he's gained weight in the off season. I just want to see if he can show a little more power. I guess like when I watch him, he didn't seem like he had like the greatest, I don't know how to say it, like maybe instincts or I don't know. It seemed like everything was like a little bit slow and segmented and didn't play quite as fast as I always wanted, but maybe some of that's just like patience. Sometimes I have a hard time deciphering between patience and like indecision, but I don't know. I think there's a lot of talent there. Just another guy. I just want to see what else he can put together as a senior.
Matt, any dissenting opinion here on Gideon Davidson, or all the same bright outlook here?
No, I think he nail on the head pretty good there. I like him. I don't love him. He's very athletic. I mean, you can't knock the production at all. But as David said, the disparity between how good his team is versus the competition is just so wide. It's kind of hard at times to make any actual takeaways on his running ability because he's just out there out-athleting people a lot of the time. He kind of almost reminds me of like a Jalen Wright kind of type of guy, where he's pretty versatile skill set with the high-end athleticism, but that's obviously more of a ceiling comp. But when it comes down to it, Clemson, I don't know if I like him more than Ezio Mume. They would probably grade out kind of similar for me. which
Yeah.
in this case would be bad for Davis, and because Ezio will have the year advantage on him when it comes time for the next full-time starter there. So I don't know. It's also very early; could very easily just not go to Clemson. So who knows?
Right.
But kind of a lukewarm feeling for me on him. I like him, but he's not an elite running back by any means.
Yeah, I think watching him, I got excited about the 21.9 miles per hour. But it was weird to me. It's just he didn't. I watched him and I was like, I would have never said this guy had 21.9. I would have never said that he was an elite long speed guy. Partly because sometimes he seems to get caught from behind a little bit, or there's guys closing on him, which that should never happen if you're at 21.9. And then, he seems to be like he doesn't appear to be as a hyper fast accelerator, but you kind of have to be if you're going to, run a 10-600 meter or whatever he's got. So I think David mentioned earlier, maybe he's a kind of a smooth accelerator rather than, one of these choppy guys who really look like they're putting in a lot of effort and it's effortless for him. Because, we have the raw numbers. We know he's that fast. It's just, he doesn't appear that way to me. I will say I agree on the vision. I mean, I think he does seem to have some decent footwork heading into the hole, heading into traffic. And looks like he knows what he's doing. He's not just ramming through wide open holes or ramming, into the back of his lineman. He seems to be appropriately waiting for a daylight, and then he does have the speed to get through it. Good receiving. Like, again, he's good. I don't know why he doesn't strike me as a guy I'm just like super excited about. I feel like I'm a little more like Matt on Gideon Davidson, but also the landing spot doesn't make me, hyper excited either because, yeah, I agree. He's like, Ezio was not that different, and, he'll be there and he'll be waiting in line behind a few different running backs. So, yeah, I thought I would be more blown away, but he didn't seem to, the tape didn't match some of the other stuff that I was excited about heading into watching him. But, we could see some new stuff as a senior, and, maybe he bulks up a little bit and maybe he has a little more receiving and we can get even more excited. But I don't think he's bad. I think he's an interesting player. I'm not sure he'd be like my running back 3, but, we'll have to wait and see. He's also under 200 pounds, which top 2 running backs we've talked about now are like 185 and 192. So hopefully we can get some of these guys that we like over 200 as prospects.